So Thunderbolts is let me get this right. Something new, something used, something borrowed, and then we officially get the new.
A piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do? You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
I am.
What up? Happy Thursday. Welcome to episode 348. Welcome to Thunderbolts. You're listening to a brand new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I am one of your hosts, Juan, and I am joined by the cast, the crew, the new Avengers. Zach.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Jay.
How's it going out there in podcast land?
Man, it's not Tippy Top Tuesday, but
that's
it is.
That's really messing with you right now.
Yeah, it really is. But it's Thursday. It's Thursday, May 15th, 2025. It is game day for all you OKC Thunder fans out there. We're one win away from going to the Western Conference Finals. This is huge, something they haven't done since 2015. So it's a pretty big deal. 10 years.
10 years in the making. If we make it, we're 10 years in the making.
So that being said, guys, welcome to Thunderbolts, man. This has been,
I see what you did there.
Had a little bit of a mishap on Thursday, but we're here. We're back. We got it. We got to deliver. We got to deliver another new episode. So,
just to give the audience some reference, Johnny was almost nearly on his deathbed. It's like, we need to do the show. I was like, no, dude, you need to rest. And then, so he was committed. Like I was like, why don't you let you rest and we'll do it on Thursday.
I still feel like Dookie, but I still had to go to work that night. But you know what? It's good. You know, no matter how bad of a week, bad of a day, I feel just like the listeners when I get together with you guys. Whatever the listeners are going through, I'm sure we've had emails too where they're like, we'll tune in and listen, and you guys' goofiness or you guys just talking about movies kind of helps me go throughout the week. Sitting here talking to you guys always helps my week too, so I don't know if you guys feel the same.
No, but I hate all of you equally.
No!
No, this is an excellent time to just come together with friends and followers of our podcast, and just everybody just, have a good time and discuss what we like and dislike and see if hopefully if one of us, wherever in person, we'll do something special for everybody out there. Or one of us will get to a fist fight because we didn't agree, but hey.
Yeah.
We may slash each other's tires, but hey, it's all in good thought.
You were wrong about that movie.
And it's crazy to think that May is already after today. There's only 2 episodes left in May, and then June is going to be jam packed.
July is jam packed,
dude.
July is like off the charts packed.
Yeah, man.
Because we were discussing that today. Within 3 weeks, you have the new Jurassic World.
So you got
Superman and Fantastic Four within 3 weeks.
Yeah. And the good thing about it, there's 5 Tuesdays in the month of July.
So we'll definitely get some Matthew McConaughey in there. We got to.
And don't forget, we'll be talking about Happy Gilmore 2 and Adam Sandler too.
Oh God! But I knew that day was coming.
You knew. I mean, there's no way we could not do a new Adam Sandler movie.
Well, we did. What was that last one he did? The astronaut one. We didn't do that one.
No, but that was horrible. That movie was horrible. Hustlers was pretty good.
Yeah, Hustlers was good. And we
Hustlers-
didn't do Hoobie Halloween. We didn't do that one.
No, but
I started it, and I was like, and I
but
turned
you
it
know
off.
what though? He's always said he really never wanted to do a sequel to any of his originals, and this is going to be the first one. So I'm kind of
Curious.
excited. Yeah. So, but today we're talking all about Thunderbolts. Before we get ready to get into it, we will come back sometime next week, I believe, with recent watches.
Well, we're going to talk about a recent watch this. We won't get to review it.
We won't get to review it.
Okay, I'll just say it. I watched the new Final Destination. Excellent movie.
I'm saying that tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I've heard it's the best one in the franchise.
It's
That's what I've heard.
As hell, and for the last I seen on Rotten Tomatoes, it was set at a 92%.
God dang.
Not a 92%.
It might have went down by now.
94. It's 94% right now. Wow.
Okay. Wow.
So today we're talking about Thunderbolts with a budget of $180 million. So far, it's grossed a little over $280 million at the box office. IMDb is giving it a 7.6 out of 10. It's got a 68 on the Metascore. After finding themselves in a deep death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes must go on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. Directed by Jake Schreier, it stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Louis Pullman, Wyatt Russell, David Harbour, Hannah John Carmen. Who else we have in there? Violet McGraw, Chris Bauer.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I said that. Echo. Let's dig into it.
What I thought about this cast is that two of the main leads are what we call nepo babies, and one of them, their dad he's Ego. He plays Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy. Wyatt Russell, that's Kurt Russell's son, and then what's his name? Louis Pullman. That's Bill Pullman's son. The guy for the president from Independence Day.
I didn't get to see this. I didn't get to see this movie twice. So we'll do first time versus now. So I'll stay out of this segment. But Zach, did you get to see it twice?
No, I've only seen it once.
Okay, so
it wasn't Sinners where I got to see it twice before the show. So
Jay, what about you? We'll do first time versus now with you. What'd you think about it the first time in a few short words, and then how was it revisiting it?
Both times enjoyed it. The second time, since I knew what was going on the first time, I was able to sit there and not relax more, but it played a lot faster the second time. The first time, there was a couple spots in the movie where I was just like, oh God, come on, can we just get the hell out of here? You know what I mean? But then by the second time, I was like, all right, we actually wore out pretty quick. It was just my mind playing tricks on me. So, but overall, I found it real good on both watches.
Zach, a few short words after the first watch.
The first time watch, I'll just go ahead and say initially I was not. This is not an anticipated release for me. I was like, okay, we're doing something different from Marvel, but let's see. We kind of hit a lull with Brave New World, but a high with Deadpool and Wolverine. So we'll see. Dude, I had a blast with this. Like I said, I've only seen it once, but the first time it was an excellent watch in IMAX. And I felt, my first part of my notes is it felt like early Marvel. And that's, I think, the thing I most appreciated the most about it.
I'll say the same thing. Even though I have not been down on a recent Marvel movie in a minute, we've done every Marvel movie as soon as it's hit theater releases, all the way back to
Endgame,
Infinity War. So that being said, I think I was kind of down on Eternals. After that, I think you can't go anywhere up with Eternals. We didn't review Captain Marvel 2.
No.
But I know you guys did.
You did dodge a bullet out.
You did Ant-Man.
We did Ant-Man, Quantumania. Yeah. Me and Craig did. Yep.
What was after that? You guys did.
We did Guardians 3.
We did Guardians 3.
And then
what was after Guardians 3?
I think the Marvels was after that, and we didn't do the Marvels.
So yeah, I really
they did the TV show run there for a couple years. Remember?
I really enjoyed Captain America. I can't wait to rewatch it. But I feel the same thing with this Thunderbolts. I wasn't expecting a lot, but what the finished product was a really good throwback. I'll agree with you, Zach. So
yeah, we've done, the only one we haven't done looking at the list is the Marvels, and we've done everything else. So
as far as new stuff,
yeah, and then we are doing Fantastic Four, I think, early August, I think. So
yeah. And I'm throwing that out the window though, Zach. If the movie comes out on a Friday, we're gonna do the episode on a Tuesday.
What do you mean?
Like we'll just talk about it the next.
Yeah, because it's a packed month that month. Yeah.
So, I love the cast of Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh really sells the entire. She's the heart and backbone of this entire movie.
She is. Yeah. I mean, the whole.
Yelena, that we've been sitting there looking at a second Black Widow, and she's the she's the lead, and everybody's okay with it. Unlike other people that were replaced.
Well, I gotta say this: am I the only one? And this might be the first debate of the episode.
You watch your mouth.
Hold on a second.
When it comes to Florence.
I'm gonna say I kind of prefer her over ScarJo.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think I agree with you there because Florence Pugh seems to have been given more of a character.
She's more personable, if you ask me.
I think Scarlett Johansson fits the mold of the early Marvel films, but we had to do something different and build a lot more character.
Well, you know why? I think she fits. Like, we'll go ahead and finish what you were saying, and then I'll touch with you.
Oh, you're gonna touch me? Oh, that's nice. But with Florence's Yelena, there's a lot more backstory, and this movie, it does a very good job, and we'll probably get into this a little bit later. It does a very excellent job at portraying mental health, especially depression.
I was about to say, this movie is all about PTSD and the way that and when we meet them, they're villains.
Yes.
The way that these different villains, and that's the one thing I guess that, in my opinion, that makes Yelena's Black Widow or her character a lot more grounded and everything over ScarJo's is that when we meet Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, she's already kind of went through her trauma, she's processed it. She's now, the Avengers Black Widow, but Yelena's still looking for her. She's at the beginning of the movie. She's like, I don't know what to do if I'm bored. I'm going to be lost in the void, and she just jumps off that building and just does what she does because it's become just like it's just programmed in her now.
Yeah,
she wants something more. She wants to feel more.
Yeah, well, and I get jumping off what you said, Jay. That whole opening sequences I thought was excellent, which is a real stunt. I'll send you guys a link of them strapping Florence up and her jumping off that building. That is a real stunt. And I like what you said. Is just like she's still trying to find her place post, I guess, Black Widow, and kind of she's still reeling from the death of Natasha, which I kind of like. And it's kind of still,
Have you seen Hawkeye? Because she ends up becomes a villain, and she becomes a villain in Hawkeye for a couple episodes, and then she teams up with Hawkeye by the end, kind of forgives it because they have their because they had their issues, and that's when Valentina recruits her at the end of Hawkeye.
No, you're right. Well, she recruits her at the end of Black Widow, but then because Hawkeye comes out after Black Widow, so yeah. But do you think, and I guess, do you think it's an oversimplification to say this is Marvel's Suicide Squad?
Yes. That's what I thought it was when they announced it.
Yeah. But I got to say, the marketing for this movie from start to finish has been amazing.
Yeah.
And we're about to get into some spoiler territory with this stuff because opening weekend, all the way up to opening weekend, what was this movie called?
Thunderbolts.
With an asterisk.
Asterisk, yeah.
But as soon as the movie ended for everybody in theaters, what was it called? The Avengers. the movie changed titles at the end of the movie. I thought that was genius. Like we were watching something and then it turned into something else by the end. Thought that was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Which, we'll go ahead and say, like you said, Jay, we're 15 minutes in. We're going to do spoilers, which that, if you have any social media, they promoted the hell out of that. They literally have a video of the cast, especially Florence Pugh, ripping the name off the poster to reveal the new Avengers. So, 2 weeks. I probably would have, if I was Marvel, I probably would have waited, maybe another week after the movie was out, just to give people a chance to see it, and then do that.
But I think
Why?
get ahead of it.
But in today's world, someone probably spoiled it like the first day after the first showing.
I think it's brilliant, even if they did spoil it, because that gets people like, oh, I have to go see why they're calling it the new Avengers.
Yeah. And that really,
and I'm sure
the setup for later. Yeah.
This movie, there's so much to unpack, but it's also one of those movies where you can just sit back and just enjoy. Yep. Kind of like you could almost compare this maybe to like you can enjoy it like a Civil War. There's not too much thinking about it.
I did a little bit too much thinking during a couple scenes, and it kind of threw me out of the movie a little bit.
Yeah,
there was a couple scenes where, when they're almost out of that base, right? They have to like hide as guards. They're like, we got 60 seconds to hide, and they're coming out. I'm like, how in the hell did they get dressed in 60 seconds? They're like in full-on tactical gear. And then when they get in the truck and Bob runs out of the truck near the end to go distract everybody, he's not in his gear that he was in, which means he's completely stripped down of his gear, and then runs out in his hospital uniform. And then when Red Guardian finds him just seemingly out in the middle of the desert, and he's like, he just finds him out of nowhere. I'm like, come on, man.
That's a great joke scene. Like Yelena automatically knows who that is. It's almost like a daughter being embarrassed by her dad being picked up at school.
Can I bring this up? This is the only nitpick I have, and this was a nitpick, Zach. If you could remember when we talked about Black Widow, the only thing I have an issue with is it's not a very good accent, but it's the two Russian accents. Florence Pugh's accent is obviously way better than David Harbaugh, but his accent as the Red Russian, it's not believable still. Like, even with how many jokes he throws out, I love him as an actor and I love him in this movie as a funny person, but I just couldn't get over the Russian accent.
I think they're going for more stereotypical Russian accent.
That's true. It's more of like a haha cheesy. I'm making fun of the accent.
Yeah. In a way.
If you look at it that way, then okay, I can kind of see it, almost like a thunder.
It's just an over the top portrayal of that accent.
But it kind of made me
it's grounded.
Right, but it kind of made me wonder, like, I wonder if she was kind of raised like Black Widow's character, where she had the English accent, how better of a performance it would have looked with Florence Pugh.
Just so she could use her like regular British accent.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean,
you get where I'm coming from, though. That's me just finding something to nitpick about.
Well, they stuck with her Russian roots from the comic book. That's why she's that way.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. There was like a moment, maybe two, where I thought Florence kind of fell into her English accent, just like once or twice. But it didn't. I mean, it wasn't like what you said about David Harbour, where it's just like, dude, this is I can't believe you. Well, just go back to speaking English.
But
the character that stole the movie though was Taskmaster. Taskmaster was the heart and soul of this movie.
Taskmaster is the one that got killed when they all got met. Which to me is just like, okay, like why would you put her on the poster if you're automatically going to kill her off?
Just to sit there and show you that there may be more to the story.
Well, no different than they did that with the Suicide Squad. Half of them got killed in the first 5-10 minutes.
And the James Gunn one, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then, there's another one in the David Ayer one who is kind of popular. He got killed off in the first, like, 5-10 minutes of meeting him. Remember, he got his head blown off.
Slipknot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Slipknot. Yeah.
So, which I mean, I thought it's cool. They still gave her props. They put her on all the posters and all the
Is she on the popcorn bucket?
She
Yeah.
is, but Ghost is not.
Ghost
Or
is on
actually,
the Ghost
oh,
is on the popcorn, but
oh,
she's
is
right
she?
there.
Okay, never mind. I never. Oh, no, there she is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
By the way, did anyone remember that character from Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yes.
no.
Okay. Like
I
so,
did.
I remembered her and
Do you
Jay.
know why I did? Because
Why?
I think her eyes are beautiful. I think she has beautiful eyes. So I was like, oh, she's so cute. And then they brought her back. I was like, I know who that is. Okay, I know it's a weird way to think of somebody and remember, but yeah, I thought she had gorgeous eyes. So yeah, and I think she's British as well.
You know what though? As far as stealing the show, I love Yolanda and I love Florence Pugh, but dude, I think this might. I don't know if he's in another movie, but second year in a row, Sebastian Stan, he had a killer 2024, and now with this movie, I just seeing him on the screen, being that character again, man, he lit it up, and
Well,
there was not a scene that I did not enjoy him in this movie.
I think unfortunately, I think he's always going to be known as the Winter Soldier. But like you said from last year with A Different Man and The Apprentice, I think people are starting to come around. Like, wow, he's more than just that Marvel character. He's actually a pretty good actor. You know,
I think he's a better actor than Chris Evans.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Well, you say that Sebastian Stan stole or was the surprise or stole the movie. And that sequence where he's out in the desert and he kind of rescues them and like uses his Winter Soldier hand to flip over the tank is awesome. I thought performance-wise, who stole it was Lewis Pullman as Bob. I thought he had a wide range of emotion and was able to pull that off in all like between the Bob who's like I think suffers from depression and anxiety to the Void, which I thought was actually a pretty cool villain. I thought he was like up there with like Sebastian and Florence and performance-wise.
His power was definitely OP though. Like he was definitely OP at his power source. So the Void that would scare the hell out of me, you know.
I like how when he uses his power, it looks like a tire mark in the road. It's like
you know what I think it looks like. I could be wrong, but whenever the atomic bombs were dropped in Nagasaki and Japan, how they left shadows on the wall of different things like a human being or a bike. That's what I took. That's how I portrayed them as.
That's also a good representation.
Can we figure out what again do they call John Walker?
Hi, Daddy.
Do they call John Walker?
He's really excited about Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Let me look. U.S. Agent. That's his hero name. U.S. Agent.
Because like he kind of surprised me. This cast on paper, you're like, oh, this is a 1 or 2 person cast movie, but like you said, Lewis Pullman did a really good job. Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh, David Harbour, and I thought Wyatt Russell was going to be the weakest of everybody, but dude, he stood his ground. He had a really good job and a really good performance in that movie. So he was super believable.
And I'll even give props to Ghost, Hannah John Kamen. I thought she was excellent as well. That scene where like after they kind of have their meet and they fight each other and they have to like use each other to climb up the whatever it is or the
tunnel.
The tunnel, yeah. I thought that was one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
What was?
Where
they had to do a
chimney through the bunker, and
they all had to climb up.
Yeah, they're back to back, and they have to use each other to climb up the wall. I thought that was pretty great.
I thought the lead up to it, where Captain America, what is he? John Walker. He's like, I got this. Don't worry about it. He jumps. He's gone for a couple seconds, and then you just see this figure just come crashing back down to the ground, a little higher than I thought.
Yeah. I will say this movie is like, it's funny in the right moments, like how like I said, classic Marvel used to be, where it's just like the jokes land. Like, I don't know about you guys, but the audience I was with, like, they laughed at the right moments, they got the jokes, and they wanted more of it, and
Do you
they just
guys
were in it.
do you guys think, I don't know, again, I'm not following by the comic. I'm not a super huge comic follower, but like movie-wise, it made me feel interested about what if the roles reversed where the Winter Soldier became Captain America and Falcon became this government association with the Thunderbolts.
I think.
Well, the
Well,
comic books,
I mean,
like, he did eventually become Captain America for a little bit.
yeah, he does eventually. I don't know if he ever will in the movies, but he does. But Sam Wilson has his turn with Captain America, and then Bucky does become a Captain America eventually. So whether
you
or not
think-
they call that, I don't know.
Yeah, but
It's just, I guess, it's whether Sebastian Stan decides to do another 10 years, essentially. I guess.
which is insane.
Well, he's in the next 2 Avengers movies already.
Yeah.
And then you have, I think he'll continue to follow, like even after those 2 movies. Did you guys see that? I think they did announce that the runtime for Secret Wars is going to be 3 hours.
It has to be.
Secret Wars and Doomsday is almost 3 hours long. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be, or there's no way in hell they're going to be able to tell the story with that big of a cast.
Yeah.
Doomsday is just going to be so interesting.
I guess we can fantasy book a little bit. Do you think? I was talking about this with a coworker at work. They have no setup for Doomsday unless they do something with Fantastic Four. There's no setup.
From what I understand, Fantastic Four does have possibly an end scene with Robert Downey Jr.
It would have to be.
Because I've already kind of heard the plot for Fantastic Four, and if that's the plot, then it's going to be a good one.
Well, my theory, and don't confirm or deny this, Jay, but my theory is, obviously, spoilers, obviously, for Thunderbolts or New Avengers, that scene at the end where they're looking at the Fantastic Four ship, my theory is that that Fantastic Four is coming from another universe. And they're coming.
Galactus, it does in fact destroy the Fantastic Four's world, and the only way for that's what they call the life raft, and they come over in the MCU, and that's how they join everybody.
See, we already talked about Fantastic Four. See you in a couple. See you next week. Are you guys excited for Fantastic Four? Or are you kind of like, we've done 2 rounds of this or 3 rounds, and I'm good.
4. We've had 4 rounds. If you've seen the original back in the day, did you ever see the one that they filmed but never intended to release?
Is that a David Cronenberg film or something like that?
It's a canon film or something like that. One of those real shoestring budget movie theaters or movie companies from back in the 80s.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's not bad considering what it was, and how much budget they had. They had like a $2 million budget, and the movie looks absolutely incredible, if you ask me.
I've only seen the 2 Chris Evans ones and the Michael B. Jordan one, so.
I think we're on the verge of Fantastic Four. This movie has to hit in order for us to get hyped a whole nother year for Doomsday.
Yeah.
So I would have. Did you guys even see that Jonathan Majors is in one of the new Avengers movies?
His character, or is it going to be a different character?
I don't know if he. Well, it said Jonathan Majors as Kang.
There's I've even heard another rumor about that. Is that within the first 5 minutes of the Doomsday movie, that Doom goes to the Council of Kings and just wipes them all out, and it's like, I'll take it from here. And that's why Loki's in it, because he wants to go out to the multiverse, and that's why all these other big beings are being pulled in, because he wants to become the person that controls it all. And when this happens, that's why you're gonna have like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart,
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, that's why you have these certain
James
characters in
Martin.
it. Yeah, that's why they're in it.
Rebecca Romaine, isn't she going to be in it?
Yeah.
Yep. What did you guys? We really didn't talk about that announcement where they announced all the cast chairs and it was everyone who's going to be in Doomsday. Do you think that was a good idea, or do you think it's going to be like, oh guys, this is way too much?
See, that's what I'm saying.
I think they needed to do that for the simple fact of nobody was excited for what Marvel was doing. Like nobody was like oh okay, let's go Kang Dynasty in 2 years. I'm hyped. Nobody was
Yeah.
hyped for that, you know. And then it's like
Yeah.
they had to pull out the big guns. They had to re-sign and get Robert Downey Jr. They had to bring the Russo brothers back.
There was multiple factors behind that, though. You know, for one, a lot of the movie fans, whenever Kang gets beat by Ant-Man, and he got beat by ants, which is, you know, the crazy thing. Here's supposed to be Kang, this all-powerful being, and he was defeated by smart ants. And then, you know, then he ended up beating up his girlfriend, and it's like, yeah, we don't need no more of this. We're done. We're good. So,
How you call my
Yeah.
so
talk to Jace?
it's yeah, but no, I agree with you. I wasn't looking for. I was kind of bored with the entire Kang character, anyways.
I was on
I think the ending.
I think the problem. Good.
I was just gonna say the ending of Ant-Man with all the different Kangs kind of brought some kind of hype into it, but I was still like, where is this going? How can this be interesting in 2.5, 3 years? And then you had like the writer's strike, which delayed it again. So it's just one of those things that, like, I think they had to pull the rabbit out of the hat. They had to do something like this, or else, you know, it was just not going to be.
Well, you had.
It wasn't going to be relevant anymore.
There's two things about this. One, we just didn't get enough time with. I'll be honest, we just didn't get enough time with Kang. We saw a little glimpse of what his potential was in Quantumania. I think Jonathan Majors was
before that Loki. If you watch Loki,
that's true, but like we didn't get to see his power, like his ability, what his potential was as a villain. We saw that he was very cunning and conniving. We know that.
But see, that's again where I feel like the TV shows don't do any of these characters justice, because you're not gonna reveal the big, almighty, powerful Kang on a Disney Plus TV show. That's like introducing Thanos in a TV show, right? You're not gonna do it, so you don't get enough time with these characters to build. And I mean,
well, like I said, you know, I still say that Jonathan Majors was still a great choice for that character. And say what you will, whether he was framed or he's a horrible human being, whatever it is, we just didn't get enough time with that character, and so we'll never know what his potential is. What they could have done is, instead of that, they could have set up the X-Men and either do a couple of films, or, you know, do the whole 10-year thing and wait either to do Doomsday or Apocalypse or one of the big X-Men villains.
Well, I saw that they have
a 10-year plan for the X-Men.
Well, I did see that the the Secret Wars Avengers movie is going to turn into Avengers versus X-Men.
That would make
sense. From what I've read about that, is it's supposed to be Battle World. Basically, what happens in the Battle World comic books, the Secret Wars comic book, is that Doctor Doom goes to all these different realities and takes all these different mighty soldiers, and he pits them all on Battle World against each other.
Go.
So
yeah, I mean,
that's how.
And that would be a good introduction to bring in the X-Men. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
they also did.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I totally agree.
They did say that with all those chairs being revealed, they did say that wasn't the entire cast either.
That's not the entire cast. Is that what you said?
They said that, yeah, there's supposed to be quite a few more people in it. They're just trying to figure out deals and everything like that. And they'll kind of release things as they go along for more hype. Because if they release certain names now, everybody would know what was going on. So they have to wait till they get closer.
I do agree with you, Johnny. I do think that I think Fantastic Four has to be successful and it has to be good, and they also have to set something really important up. for this to
'Cause-
matter for next year.
It can't be like a Captain Marvel where the movie was kind of mediocre and then the end credit scene was badass. I don't think it can be that at all. Because
No.
I think
Let-
the end credit scene for Fantastic
Come on.
Four is, you know how in the Thunderbolts here we have the ship of theirs arriving on Earth and the new Avengers seeing them. What if we see that same scene from the Fantastic Four's point of view? And that's how the
and
Fantastic
I
Four
think
ends.
and the way you describe that would make total sense, and that sets up for Doomsday.
Yeah.
So,
Do you
but
think
going back to Thunderbolt, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think does Fantastic Four need a Robert Downey Jr. cameo?
Depends on what it is. If we're going directly into
Yeah.
Doomsday, I say yes.
What if it's just his robotic hands picking up the helmet and you never see his face?
That's basically what we got with the first Thanos teaser. Remember whenever he picks up the
Stop!
gauntlet and puts it on?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the exact same thing as Thanos, yeah. And so, but yeah, I still think that there's hope for Marvel. I think they can still right this ship, but they just have to do it precisely, and it's got to be what people like. So
all in all, I think we all three agree that this was above and beyond a good movie that we didn't expect. It was one of those ones that we were just all walking into with mild expectations in it, but walked out and exceeding all of them, just because it felt like a movie of Marvel's past.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I don't know how much more you wanted to just talk about. I just wanted to talk about when Void like goes all haywire and just kind of engulfs the whole city into darkness. That whole like I call it the inside darkness inception scene where Florence is kind of going from like room to room trying to rescue Bob. I thought that was really, really cool in IMAX. And it kind of did it's very horrific in some sequences of it.
Yeah, I thought it was very fitting to show how badass the Void was. That one of the first people that he dusted was this little girl, like this little 9 or 10-year-old little girl. She's just standing there talking to the Red Guardian about then. It's just a black smear on the ground, and it's like, holy, he really did that. Oh wow,
that got a audible wow in the theater when I was.
For a second there, it felt like he was just as important and as powerful as Thanos was.
He is. He is in the comic book lore. He's basically has the same power set as Superman. Maybe a little bit stronger in some areas and things like that. But he has the same power set as Superman does. As far as Sentry goes, when he's Sentry, that's what he is. But when he's the Void, there are more powers that it comes included with that.
So Marvel is really good about picking up their villain for each movie. Whether it be like Christian Bale, Kurt Russell, they have a really good one-off. Do you guys think we'll see Sentry again as Sentry or the Void?
Sentry, what, the villain?
Right, but I'm just saying.
I thought Valentina was the villain.
But what I'm saying is, do you think we'll see him back as either one or just Sentry?
I'd say depending where Secret Wars of Doomsday goes and how they want to work that, I definitely say we'll see him again. But
because to me, he definitely feels like a mutant.
Lewis Pullman is in Doomsday, so we will see that character again. So we'll have to see.
Where do you think Lou?
But I agree with you. He does look. He does look like he does feel and look like an X-Men villain or even an X-Men character.
Where do you think Julia Louis-Dreyfus will fit into all this coming up in the next Avengers movie?
She's not in it. She's not in Doomsday. She might be in Secret Wars.
And then you still
But
have
as of right now, she's not in.
Yeah, because I asked her during the press conference. She's like, "Are you in it?" She's like, "I haven't got anything yet. I haven't heard anything, so I don't know." And
and
for
then
her, she was like, "You're not in it."
you still have, the what to do with Red Hulk and Harrison Ford and that government agency.
I think that's a one-off. I think unless Harrison Ford comes back in Secret Wars or something, I don't think they'll bring that back.
You think that was a one-off?
Especially especially after the reception and how much Brave New World has made since today.
Interesting.
So
But who
I just
knows?
wanted to say before we start wrapping this up, I thought The Void and what I said at the beginning, it was a very good representation of how, even though it wasn't their intention, I thought it was a very good representation of like mental health and depression, how it can just consume you, and like if you literally become something that you're not. I thought that was an excellent representation of that.
And they did it with all the characters too. They all shared trauma.
Yeah.
They all had trauma that they were all trying to work through, because and even Valentina had trauma, and you know what I mean. Because when she touched Century, and he made her revert back to when she was a child and watched her father get murdered in front of her, that's when she made a vow to change things, whether
Well,
it's hell or high water, whether it be legal, illegal, but she was going to change things.
if she had one of the worst send-offs in sitcom history, I would try to destroy the world too.
They all went to jail for the No Samaritan law.
Captain America: Brave New World only made $415 million.
Worldwide?
That's worldwide. That's worldwide. Yeah. Wow.
It's a good marketing scheme of them putting Captain America on Disney Plus on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that is good marketing.
What is cool though is that if you sit there and look at it now this way, we just got through watching the new Avengers, in a way. But when we watched Captain America: Brave New World, we got to see kind of like that new Avengers story. So that was also in a way a new Avengers story, because by the end he had to set up the new Avengers, and we kind of have an idea of who they're going to be already.
That's true.
I feel like, I kind of disagree with you on that, because the only thing that I thought that Brave New World had a connection to was at literally the last credit scene was of Broccoli Man, or that character from Incredible Hulk, basically warning Sam that there's an attack coming from a different world. So that's obviously Doomsday. So I thought that was the only connection. Otherwise, I kind of thought it was like its own independent story, aside from bouncing off of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
We talked about it a few weeks ago in that actual Brave New World episode. I still can't fathom why that movie made just crap money and why it just got so much negativity compared to everything else. I'm like, okay, I understand it's not, Thunderbolts, or it's not original MCU, but I still thought it was a pretty slick, spy, maybe like espionage kind of feel of a movie. I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's because I just got done watching the James Bond series before I went and saw that movie, but I thought it was a pretty slick new age kind of film.
A lot of
my theory
is that not my Captain America. Steve Rogers is my Captain America.
Those are probably the same people who voted in the president too.
You want to take that one, or? No, but
a lot of people didn't like that Steve Rogers was gone. Everybody was hoping that Captain America 4 would be Steve Rogers' adventure putting the Infinity Stones back.
But we're done. We're done with all that. We don't need to sit there and see that again. And to be honest, like, I feel like if Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., if they're just trying to milk that Disney teat for as much as they can, even though it's not best for what story-wise, then that's Disney and that's MCU's fault. Like,
I've even heard that Chris Evans is supposed to be in Doomsday, but he's playing Captain Hydra.
As long as it's good for the story and they're not doing whatever they can just to milk these actors again. Like, we don't need. I honestly feel, and you guys can. This might be a fun topic of discussion too. I feel like Doomsday does not need to be Robert Downey Jr. I think you can go out and find a hell of a better actor to portray Doomsday.
Agreed,
who?
but
Whether they tie in this multiverse Iron Man thing, Robert Downey Jr. can take his old decrepit ass and just continue to go and do whatever he wants. He can make another Doolittle film because we know how successful he is outside of the MCU. We don't need this whole back and forth kind of thing.
Listen, the man won an Oscar for Oppenheimer, so you watch it.
Get somebody like I don't know. I just don't.
Matt Damon.
We don't need somebody who's been like, we don't need a rewash, if that makes any kind of sense.
What if this time a year from now you're like eating your words? You're like, oh no, he was like the best villain ever.
Dude, I've never liked Robert Downey Jr. He's been a great Iron Man, yes. But could you imagine if maybe they went the other route and they got somebody like a fucking Tom Cruise, or if they got somebody different? Like, don't get me wrong, I love Robert Downey Jr.'s story. Going from a legit whatever he was
like
to
nearly close to death with drugs,
right to royalty now. Don't get me wrong, that's a beautiful story. But I'm just not that big of a Robert Downey Jr. fan to where I'm like, we need his $30 million contract to save the MCU.
You want to check your email, see how many hate mails you just got?
I'm just being real, man. I feel like Robert Downey Jr. can, kick rocks. Go do something else. Go do another Doolittle film.
did anybody see the new Spider-Man Noir trailer over the weekend?
Yep.
Bring Nicolas Cage in. Damn.
Oh Lord.
It looks pretty interesting. I'll give him that.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage, he's also playing John Madden in the new John Madden biopic movie.
I seen the first pic of John Madden today.
And Christian Bale is playing the owner, Al Davis. So that's gonna be an interesting film.
That will be interesting, yes.
So
I wonder if we're gonna get the part where he signs his video game contracts, becomes the biggest football guy in the world.
that's going to be interesting too. I hope we do, because it kind of reminds me. I hope we get more of a movie like Air with Ben Affleck than anything.
Yeah, Air was good. I liked it. That was a good movie.
So, let's talk a favorite scene or two from Thunderbolts. Zach, do you have one?
Yeah, I liked Florence's opening sequence, the whole where she jumps off the building and busts into the lab. I thought that was excellent. The fight sequence between all the different Thunderbolts was awesome. And honestly, we didn't talk about this. The end credits where they're like all the different magazines, like Time and Newsweek and all that. The New Yorker was like, are these the new Avengers? And like you said, they say not my Avengers. I thought that was like on the nose, perfect, but not like trying to be like so subtle about it.
They were basically doing what they were getting ahead with that end credit scene right there, where it's basically they're lampooning us, the fans, because it happened as soon as it became the new Avengers. I was reading comments like, these aren't the new Avengers, these aren't my Avengers. I'm like, and people were laughing like, you missed the point of the movie, didn't you? You just missed that, didn't you? You are those people.
I wonder if they added some of that stuff. It's funny because of, the whole Avengers thing, but I also wonder if they went back and like, people were saying this about Captain America. Let's put that in there too. Hashtag.
That's very probable because, the online trolling of fans and shit, oh yeah.
I'd have to say probably my favorite scene is when they're going up the chute and they got a team do the teamwork activity. I thought that was pretty hilarious. The opening sequence with Yolanda is really good. Or Yelena. I said Yolanda. Sorry, I got Napoleon Dynamite on the mind. Man, and then you know what? I'm gonna say there's a pretty some good fight sequences with John Walker. I really was overlooking Wyatt Russell in this movie, but going back, I've really enjoyed some of his sequences and the ending. New Avengers stuff. So, Jay, what about you?
I really enjoyed once
Yeah.
they entered the void that you follow Florence Pugh's character throughout her interpretation of the void and the way she experiences it and everything, and then you get then when they all kind of meet up, they were like, "Oh God, what was that?" And they're like, and they just started kind of like looking at each other like, "We just experienced our own personal hell. What the hell was that?" And it made me think like everybody that's caught up in this black wave, you can shoo off there, sir. I didn't get to go see it the 20th anniversary, and I didn't get.
Hey, you had a chance, and you decided to go see Sinners again, so
and I
that's
fell
on
asleep
you.
through it. But I thought it was overall, yeah, I enjoyed those scenes, and then them all fighting each other. And I just thought it was hilarious how Taskmaster, the one person that can like match your move skills, one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat, any type of combat you could think of, was magically outdone by a person that could phase through her and shot her in the head with a bullet. I thought it was kind of funny. I honestly did. Here's one of the most badass members on the team just got taken out like 2 seconds into the movie. So, but overall, I enjoyed the movie immensely. Most of it, actually.
Yeah, I think they should have had Sentry towards the end. He could have been like given a nice new Avengers speech, and then he could have been like, "This is our Independence Day." But star rating for Thunderbolts / the New Avengers.
I will go first if you don't mind. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. It was a real good back to form Marvel movie. We've all kind of restated that felt like Marvel of old, and it was funny when it needed to be. It was serious when it needed to be. There was a lot of good character development. The PTSD storyline that runs throughout that they all experience, and they're all traumatized and just trying to overcome and cope with their own depression in a way, and just become. And when they become a team, it just makes it hard for them to accept that there's people out there that actually care for them. So that was a cool team dynamic that usually have a team. When you have a team movie, the team already cares for each other. You just have a couple holdouts that they have to get along finally because they have to do something together. None of them like each other in this movie until the end. Hell, even by the end, they still don't like each other.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this movie a 4 as well. Just going off the sole first watch, I think it's a pretty good superhero movie. The tie-ins are great. It's like Jay said, it's got its funny moments, it's got its serious moments, a couple big standouts. I'm just interested to see how it would be on the rewatch. So for right now, I'll get a 4. Zach?
I guess 12, 4 for me as well. Everything you guys said, performances, action sequences, metaphor for mental health, the humor in it, and like I said, my first note on my while doing my notes for the show feels like early Marvel, and I think that's what I appreciate the most about it. So
Nice. So, but Zach, next week,
let me pull this bad boy out.
what are we doing on May 20th?
May 20th, ironically enough, we are finishing up the Star Wars movie, and we're talking about the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
This is the only full-length feature Star Wars film we have not talked about.
Yep, and I think we were going to talk about it last year. I said, dude, let's just wait for the 20th anniversary next year. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. So it's crazy how we did them all out of whack.
Yeah.
We did 4, 5, and 6, and then we did the new ones, and then we did Rogue One, and then we did Solo, and then we did 1, 2, and now 3.
Yep, that's true.
So
we did them in our own order.
Yeah. And then what are we doing on the Tuesday after Memorial Day? That'll be Tuesday, May 27th.
The Tuesday after Memorial Day, we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're going to do our classic yearly war movie for Memorial Day. We're also talking about some McConaughey in U-571, which I have never seen, and I'm kind of interested to see it. So
I don't think any of us have seen this.
I haven't.
So
And it has,
It's about-
I have Bill
I have
Paxton, in it, which makes it 10 times better. I've not even seen it yet.
and it's on Netflix.
And then you want to talk about June? You want to open up with June, and then the first Tuesday of June, we're going back to the theater. We're seeing Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which I've heard mixed things about, but overall I've heard is a awesome action movie. So I'm excited to see it.
June the 3rd, and then I don't have posters yet, but we might as well talk about June for the rest of the rest.
Say
June,
the date, and I'll say the movie.
June 10th.
June 10th, we're going back to McConaughey with his first film debut, Dazed and Confused. Richard Linklater. I've only seen it once, so it'll be an interesting conversation.
June 17th.
This one I'm very nervous about. June 17th, we're talking about Batman Forever, Val Kilmer's Batman.
We're also going to probably have a little discussion about the late Val Kilmer, which he recently passed away, and we'll talk about probably because in a few weeks they're going to be releasing the Schumacher cut in theaters somewhere in Los Angeles. So
You got your tickets yet?
I haven't got tickets, but Jay was telling me it's literally the day after the actual 20th anniversary, or 30th anniversary. Golly.
30. That movie's 30 years?
Yes, Batman
Wow.
Forever is 30 years old.
Oh, damn.
And then June 24th.
And then June 24th, we go back to the theaters again for 28 years later, which I'm very highly anticipating. And then we're still working out July, but we think we have the pretty much movies. It's just what we're going to talk about. What
Do you think we've done 28 days later? Do you
we got to
think
do 28 weeks later?
I was about to say, should we squeeze in a bonus episode somewhere and just literally hit go live and just have a conversation about 28 weeks later?
It was good. There we go. Episode done. Splice
Yeah.
it.
It is definitely the weakest of the three, I'm sure.
It's been so long since I've seen any of them. I remember having when the first time I ever seen 28 Days Later was on a European bootleg because it came out in Europe there first in the UK, and somehow I knew somebody that was able to watch the movie on DVD before it even came out in theaters here in America.
Part of me doesn't even want to watch 28 weeks later because I feel like Danny Boyle and Alex Garner is just going to take care of that and be like, it's a virus, it's zombies, and we're going to go from there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is too. So
So,
May has been fun. We got 2 episodes left. June is going to be jam packed. July is sensational, and then A24 month in August is right around the corner. So that being said, next week, May 20th. May the force be with you. Next week, we discuss the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith right here on another new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
we are Thunder.